probably wouldn't believe this if we didn't show you. Here's out our balcony. It's about 10 o'clock at night. And it's almost dark. It's amazing. You can see the moon shining and reflecting brilliantly on the water. But then as you pan to the left, it's actually still daylight over here. And the sunset. Look at that beauty. And it won't ever completely settle over there. It will stay light actually the whole night. But over here, the moon rising out of there.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
The kinds of technologies that we're testing out on Space Station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth.
How many of you have ever seen a map that looked like this before? How many of you have ever seen this map?
Seen that map.
Yeah. Isn't this the map that you use K through 16 in the United States of America? Now, folks, look at this map. According to your social studies teacher, what is the equator?
Right
An imaginary line where?
Yeah.
Around the center of the Earth. Then if this map is correct, then the equator must be here, and Chicago has a tropical climate. Now, folks, this is the map that we use in the schools. Look where the United States is, in the middle of the world, right? Now, here's the USSR, which is no more, of course, Mongolia, China, Africa, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Now, look over here. USSR, Mongolia, China, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Two Indias here. We have two Indias. Did you know that? Now, people, this is a flat-out lie. Look at the size of Greenland and the size of South America. According to your social studies teachers, what were continents? Largest land masses on the face of the Earth, right? Now, do you know the continents? Africa, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, Europe, North America, and South America. Did I say Greenland? Well, Greenland isn't a continent, but it's a huge landmass according to this map, right? The map is a flat-out lie, people. If you read the legend on the map, here it says, in fact, South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland.
Are you saying the map is wrong?
Oh dear, yes.
Always question the scientists and their foundations.
At the moment, modern physics is not making a lot of sense.
What is everything made of? You know, oops, there's about 95% stuff we don't know.
philosophically speaking, is very uncomfortable. Because if the Earth is in the center of the universe, that means that somebody put it there.
Matter tells space how to curve. Space tell... Did I get that right?
The science community is ignoring a lot of the things that we're looking at, and so normal people are going out and doing experiments. And one of the experiments has turned up an amazing fact that we've not been told, and it destroys the whole idea of this heliocentric system, and that is the moon. Now, you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade, the opposite from the sun. So the moon is throwing out its own light, and that light is the opposite from the sun. Now, that tells you that it's not reflecting the sun's light. It's producing its own, and its light is different from the sun's. So, you know, the scientific community have not told us this, because they won't tell us this, because it destroys this idea that the sun is, you know, is lighting up the moon.
Everyone knows, like, if you're in sunlight, it's colder in the shade, right? So if it's 100 degrees in the sun, it's 90 degrees in shade. You go to the moonlight, like especially in a full moon, especially if it's high in the sky, the moon is its own independent object. It is not reflecting the sun rays. The sun is its own object. Also, you know, about the same size, which is, you know, again, coincidentally, you know, why the moon fits so perfectly in front of the sun during an eclipse. We always thought it was coincidence that even though it was 400 times farther away, that it was also exactly 400 times less diameter, which is why it fits. And the other weird thing about the moon, which everyone thinks, oh, it's just a coincidence, is that we never see the other side of it. It's constantly perfectly rotating, so we only see one side of the moon. Exactly one side. It's not like we have like a quarter of a degree every 5 years or half a degree here and there. It's always the same side. There are no coincidences when it comes to this system. It was deliberately built, but I think it was deliberately built to be detected. And I think we were naturally supposed to figure this thing out maybe as late as the 1970s, but the government figured it out first, and they have been spending a heck of a lot of money trying to keep it a secret.
The other question is, well, how come ships don't go off the sea if it's flat? How come ships don't fall off the edge? Well, here's why you don't fall off the edge. There's a 200 to 300 foot high wall that is the border that Scripture says is keeping everything in. Nothing's going past that.
Because they don't want you finding out what's beyond.
It's a 20,000 foot sheer wall of ice, but that's never stopped me before. Risk? Of course I'm aware of the risks. Thank you for your concern.
Physics, why objects move on a ball spinning 1,000 miles an hour while it's going 26,000 miles around the sun. Basically the model we accepted right now.
The sailor thinks that he's traveling around the Earth this way, when in effect he's traveling around the Earth this way.
They began flying it around the world, from Abu Dhabi last year, with stops in India and China, then across the vast Pacific.
Does running around your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
I was an airline pilot for Delta for 26 years. A pilot's primary flight instrument is his artificial horizon, which he has to be maintained level to keep from climbing and descending. From a cockpit, weather permitting, I could see hundreds of miles in all directions, viewing cities connected by roads across the flat plain as far as the eye could see.
If a pilot is flying around the curve of the Earth, then he should be dipping the nose down every 5 minutes. He should be dipping the nose down to stay around the curve. That's absolute proof that a plane flies over a flat surface rather than a curved one.
Now, how come in all these ball pictures, man, you can see all the continents pretty much, and there's just a little bit of clouds here and there. Man, it's like some of these pictures, like there's some where they show the Earth at night and you can see all the lights and stuff. It's like, You're telling me the entire continent didn't have clouds? The entire fucking continent, like, you can see Africa and all these lights and all this stuff. Like, you know, if you turn on your porch light, I guess you can see it from space, apparently. And it's like there's no clouds in some of these pictures.
And they spelled out the word sex, right, recently, probably a few months ago, in one of the clouds.
But, you know, if they do their research, they say, well, those are composites. And I said, well, how come they copy and paste the clouds on some of these? And they use the same cloud form. Like, if you're going to make a composite, but you shouldn't be copying and pasting clouds. That means you're adding stuff that's not real.
Yeah, and the thing is, those pictures that you're talking about, the blue marble pictures, you know, I think there's about maybe 8 to 10 of them over time that NASA has put out, and you're absolutely right. None of those pictures look the same. The color of the water is different. Like you said, the continents are different sizes. It's just unbelievable. And I think what happened originally was they would put these things out and nobody was paying any attention to it, you know, and then all of a sudden now people are paying attention to it, and now they're pulling these pictures in, and it's an obvious fraud.
What?
And the thing is, there's supposedly tens of thousands of satellites orbiting Earth.
And they'll look at you like you're crazy. But really, you're the sane one for asking real questions. I was taught schoolbook bullshit in public school, and somehow I was able to break free and free my mind. You know how I did it? I watched NASA rockets explode a bunch of times. Fly off sideways and not go to space.
If you watch the trajectory of the space shuttle, it doesn't go straight up. It always goes in a curve and out to sea. The point is, they actually go horizontal. The space shuttle goes horizontal. It never goes any further up. It goes horizontal, very, very low down in the atmosphere. You know, it's still in the atmosphere while it's horizontal, so it never gets any higher. And it goes out of sight, not because it goes too high, because it goes too far downrange. And they have a plane that's mocked up to look like a space shuttle. It's a jet-powered aircraft. That's it. It's not a glider. It's an aircraft. And that's what they're fooling us, taking billions of dollars in and giving us images and fake planes for that 10 billion, you know, however many billions of dollars it is. What goes up must come down, and literally we have not ever seen anything that has ever gone up and not come down.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
Rockets don't have brakes. It literally stopped. All of that angular momentum from the rotation of the rocket and the linear momentum from flying up just stopped. No, it had to have hit something. What would it hit? If it hit a solid surface, the rocket would have been destroyed, and most likely the camera too, so we wouldn't have the footage, and obviously that's not the case.
Kicks and deals. It's a long fly ball going back,
and the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium. Oh, Simpson just broke this dream's reality wide open.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
There's no place to go.
Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now.
People figured out that we were an enclosed system. The more advanced we got, it would be the biggest thought on our minds. That's all we care about. You could make a wildlife reserve 1,000 miles square. All people, all human beings would do is just be knocking on the fence constantly, going, why is this fence here? Who built the fence? Why are we in here? And so on and so on.
Why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
Earth. Yep. Earth. Yep.
One thing to keep in mind is that you're not really trying to teach somebody everything that you know about this subject. The best thing I think a person can do is to just open their mind and point out a couple things that will make them willing to sit down with you and watch a couple videos.
It literally
once they've seen a few good videos
and the linear momentum from
that comprehensively cover the subject, there's really not a whole lot left for you to say. because they've already seen the material. But to get somebody to sit down and watch it seems to be the challenge with a topic like this. So one of the things you do to not come across like a freak is remember that a good strategy goes a long ways. Think of a salesman who's trying to get an appointment to go to someone's house to, say, sell them a sunroom or a steel roof or a window remodel or something like that, right? So he only uses the phone as a tool to get the appointment with the customer. You don't try to sell them the roof over the phone. You don't try to sell them the windows over the phone or whatever your project happens to be that you're contracting. You really only use the phone for one thing, and that is to get an appointment. And then when you get in front of the person, that's when you do the selling, okay? So you have to remember that when you bring this subject up, there are so many people that have put together documentaries that really cover it so well. Why would you try to do that when you can simply get the people primed to want to hear it? That's a huge obstacle. And I see people do a lot of the same things over and over that want to talk about this. Some of the people that I know who are aware of it, which, you know, some of you may be lucky and have 4 or 5 friends who are really on board with this. And it took me a while to get the first one. I'd share it with people and they'd go, yeah, well, you know, but the earth is round. Okay, dude, never mind. Because they don't want to hear it, right? I find that it's a tendency, though, when you have a new subject that you're enthusiastic about, to overwhelm people with information. The first thing you got to remember, don't throw too much information at them. If you have somebody who is always cool with having casual discussion with you, and one day you say, man, I've been watching these documentaries, and I got to tell you something. Are you aware of the fact that, have you ever been to the water? The horizon is totally flat. And did you know that when they say boats go over the edge, they really don't? They just go out of sight, and you can look at them with binoculars and telescopes for as far as the air quality will allow. And how about the fact that Antarctica's off limits and it's protected by the military, and Pythagorean's math doesn't actually proof out when you go out to the water and start trying to find the curve that they talk about? And did you know that everything that NASA does is fake? And how about what about the fact that you can see all the constellations all year, even though you're on different sides of the sun? They kind of look at you and go, whoa, hey man, it's cool, you might want to get your dosage checked. And that person just put up a wall. Okay, so you don't want to do that to people because they always respond the same way. They back off and they're like, yeah, okay, see you later. So what you really need to do is remember, just get them willing to watch a video. Don't overwhelm them, and don't make them feel stupid. You really have to know something about the people you're talking to. If you're talking to somebody who already believes that the moon landing was a hoax, man, you're ahead of the game, right? They already aren't NASA worshipers. That's a great thing. But what if you're talking to somebody who isn't science-minded? He doesn't really understand even the official story, right? So when you're trying to contradict a story that he doesn't even understand, he's really going to be messed up. And with a guy like that, if he seems honestly interested in what you're saying, you definitely have to show him a video because it's full of illustrations and ways to show with videos and documentation what you're talking about, right? So one of the ways you can avoid this is use images whenever you can. Then you don't have to explain. If you have a phone or a tablet with you all the time, have that thing stacked in a folder full of good images. You've seen them all over, like Flat Earth Matters and some of these. Just do an image search. You'll find all kinds of great stuff. Just save it and stick it in your phone. And then when someone talks about, oh, well, this isn't true, go, well, have you ever thought of this? And you show them a picture. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, great. A video's worth 1,000 pictures. So just keep it simple and just get them willing to watch a video, and preferably with you. Don't just send them one and say, hey, come on over, I'll buy pizza. You can come on over and we'll hang out. I want to show you something. There's something that's going to blow your mind. And I'll feed you. Come on over. And people are usually willing to swing by and, drink a 6-pack and have some pizza. Get them over there and then put a documentary on. And shut up and let them listen to it. and then watch their response. Because if they start asking a million questions after that, that means it cracked the shell, and they'll start peeking out and going, hey, wait a minute, and then now they're curious. And then there's 50 other videos probably. I have a good handful of videos on my proponents list on this channel right here, and you show anybody 3 of those, any 3 of those, and if they don't get it, there's nothing really else to say, because you're not going to explain it better than these videos do. And if they don't care and they go, oh yeah, whatever, and then they turn football on, well, let them go back in the Matrix. That's where they belong. But it's really worthwhile to it's rewarding to share this with somebody and have them call you and say, okay, I got a friend. I'll give you a personal testimony. I had a friend he lives over on the West Coast. I'm over here on the East Coast, but we worked together like 15 years ago. And we've shared little conspiracy stuff off and on, talking about this or that, Bilderberg, 9/11, whatever. When I got into this, I showed it to him. I tried to. I said, watch this video. He wouldn't touch it. And then I sent him another one. Watch this video. Did you ever watch that? No, I haven't had time. And, you know, one day I got him to commit to watch one of them. Then he started calling me with a bunch of questions, and I sent him other links and other videos. Then he started sending me videos, and then he started sending me, pretty soon, he's calling me going, oh man, dude, what'd you do to me? My whole world melted down. This is like, everything else is nothing compared to this. All these other conspiracies just, man, dude, I can't believe this. And everyone thinks I'm crazy now. I talked to my mom and my brothers, and they're all telling me I'm a fool. But he has someone to talk to. And if you can get somebody to watch a few videos and get it, and then see, an education is not like filling a bucket. It's like starting a fire. And once you get people to see it, it'll take on a life of its own, and you'll see them, and maybe they'll end up finding something you've never seen and share it with you. But people are never going to basically come on board to this reality if they don't allow themselves to be informed. And so the real art in this, because of the subject and the depth of the indoctrination, is just get them interested enough that you can sit down with them and watch a video and then watch them try to digest it. And if they say no, fine. But you'll avoid a lot of headaches if you don't overwhelm them, you don't make them feel stupid, and don't try to teach them everything. You're not trying to be the...
How to awaken other people to flat Earth. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as just walking up to people and telling them, hey, the Earth's flat. You've been lied to for 500 years. Just thought I'd let you know. That would be nice, but that's the worst way to try and wake someone up. How not to wake people up to the flat Earth is to preach to them, or to pander to them, or to condescend to them. So the best way is instead to Socratically question their worldview. Socratic questioning means to continually ask someone leading questions, leading them to the answers or lack of answers that you knew of in the beginning. So it's a method of teaching through asking leading questions to get your subject to come to the answers that you want them to all by themselves. So for instance, you can ask someone, hey, isn't the natural physics of water to remain level and flat? And isn't over 70% of Earth composed of water? If 70% of Earth is composed of water, and the natural physics of water is to always remain level, flat, how can the Earth be anything but a level, flat plane? Then as they answer, you frame your next question to lead them further and further down the rabbit hole of flat Earth questioning. For a good example of this, check out Del from Beyond the Imaginary Curve. Notice the questions that he asks, and the style of asking. Notice the Socratic questioning, the leading questions. Notice how he strategically leads people into questioning their own worldview instead of just preaching and alienating them by laying it all out right from the beginning. Pay attention to your own emotional state when you're trying to wake other people up also. If you're excited, over-impassioned, nervous, jittery, talking too fast, unsure of yourself, they're going to pick up on that and exploit it. One of the best ways to breach any subject, especially taboo subjects is through humor. Making jokes about it. Make jokes about the flat Earth. Make jokes about the ball Earth. Make jokes about NASA's CGI photographs. Make jokes about the Big Bang. Keep it light. Keep it funny. Make it a joint discovery between the two of you. Never make it seem like you are preaching. Never make it seem like you've already decided. Don't try to do it all at once. Waking up to flat Earth is a process, so recognize that whoever you're trying to wake up has to go through that long process themselves. So the most you can do is plant seeds and then water them as time goes on. If you try to plant a seed and overload it with water and sit there waiting for it to grow, you're getting pissed off that it's not growing faster. You're just going to waterlog and kill it. Be lighthearted. Smile. Laugh it off if they ridicule you, like water off a duck's back. They'll be looking to see your confidence in what you're saying. And if they see their simple ridicule can bring you into a negative state, they're going to know that you're not that confident about what you're presenting them with, and they won't take you as seriously. However, if they ridicule you, and you just smile, nod, and ask them another Socratic question that points out where they might actually be wrong, they're more likely to take you seriously and see that you have both confidence and logic. So when you're trying to awaken other people, think of how you were awakened. Did someone come and preach to you? You probably clicked on a video, and upon watching the video, found your worldview expanded. So one of the best ways to wake other people up is to get them to watch a video with you. Hold a viewing party, send them a link, or next time they come over, sit them down and turn on a good flat Earth video. Another way is to put your money where your mouth is. Offer them $10 or $20 to sit down and watch a flat Earth video with you. Maybe they'll ridicule you if you expect them to waste their time for free, but if you put a $20 bill in front of them and say, hey, I'll give you $20 to just sit down and listen to this video with me, they're less likely to be standoffish about it when they've had their palms greased. One guy wrote me and said he challenged his friend to a bet that if his friend still thought the Earth was a spinning ball in 6 months' time, that he would buy him an Xbox. And when 6 months came around, his friend couldn't honestly tell him that he truly believed the Earth was still a spinning ball. So if you can get people to sit down and watch a video with you, that takes the pressure off of you. As you're watching, feel free to pause it as they ask questions to help them along with answers if you know them, or pause it yourself if you think they don't understand something. You don't even have to approach it as though you think the Earth is flat. You can simply say that you find this interesting, or did you know about these people? Or what do you think of this? And when they tell you, so you believe this? You can throw your hands up and say, no, I didn't say I believe it. I'm just questioning it. I think there's a lot of interesting points. I wanted to discuss them with you.
So,